afternoon, everyone. No need to stand. No. So it is not a school class, we said, so no need to stand. And I will greet you every day, not you. It is imposition, isn't it? Thanks for coming because.
Good afternoon, sir. You are not audible.
So I was saying thanks for coming because people have started learning ethics by unethical means. So your presence shows that still something ethics is left. Anyhow, so that's why there is no need to teach ethics, isn't it? When ethics has been learned by unethical means, so do we need to teach ethics? This is what we feel nowadays. What to teach ethics? This. Anyhow, we have to qualify examination. To qualify examination, we have to learn ethics even if you do not follow it. No. Don't feel hurt, but this is how the reality. So it is not necessary someone is securing highest in ethics is ethical. Is it? Anyhow, I say bureaucracy is not very ethical institution. Sorry to say. You'll feel, but I don't want to hurt you much. So let's take this. Syllabus, you may be aware. Basically, we have, I guess, total 7 topics. Yes. So, smallest syllabus among all, isn't it? And also most scoring. Smallest and most scoring. Yes. So this year, I guess, second ranker, she has got 141 marks, which we know as highest. If you know, you can also share whether there is even more than that. It can be, because we do not have data of all students, those who wrote mains last year. But what we know, people have secured, even it has gone to around, let's say that, there was a time 160, no, 63, etc., etc. That was 2019. That people secured marks like anything. So 140 that time was almost a kind of average. This, which you cannot secure in other papers, isn't it? It depends on UPSC. So lower, you can say that the smallest syllabus, but yes, quite scoring once you understand it. This ethics paper, even if you do not understand, it does not matter. As we told you that people can master ethics as we are mastering all the topics. Anyhow, the topics we can classify in terms of philosophy, philosophical you can say, or moral and moral philosophy. Social psychology. And we say as applied ethics. So it can have your topic 1, this, then moral and philosophical thinkers. this. It is related to aptitude, attitude, and emotional intelligence. And it is related to this. So broadly, you can say there are three categories of topics. One which is related to moral aspect, moral philosophy that we say, and this we say also as normative ethics, normative theories. Second, we say as moral thinkers. So you can take those moral thinkers, which will talk. Next, we say that it is related to attitude, aptitude, and emotional intelligence. And rest is about applied ethics. Applied ethics is about ethics which is applied in a practical situation. Practical situation like you want to become civil servant, so whether you will apply ethics. So that aspect. Then, or if I say there itself, sources if you talk, which people want to know. Basic aspects, no. What sources should be followed? Sources of reading. No. So, for this, people follow, you should also follow. That is how it is. We'll give, or you can download a PDF file of DOPT. It is title of the file is like this. It is downloadable. You can download it. Read its first 100 pages or 75 pages. Plus follow whatever we say in the class. This. So that will be enough. For this, depend on the printed notes that we have given. Plus class. This ARC second. Ethics in governance. Report, which is popular, you can take that. Plus this, you can follow this printed notes. Plus we'll give some other soft copies. Right. Plus we'll give you at least 2 workbooks for practice. It will be question answer like, which will help you understanding, plus 3 tests and model answers. They will help further in your preparation, plus one current compilation. Lots of things. Right. If you reduce all these things, you need to follow whatever we say in the class. It is still enough. Right. No, even without class also it is enough. So people read handwritten notes in the market, isn't it? You may be aware. Yes. Largely people read whatever, let's say, handwritten notes they get from the class. Photo states are very fast, isn't it? You teach here and they supply in market. So, as if they have installed in the class chat GPT. So, this is how we find. Anyhow, so that also, so it depends that how you approach. There are several such resources. Anyone for satisfaction also you can buy at least any one book. Once you will buy it, it gives satisfaction. This. So it is old and gold both you can consider. This, although every day you can find some new books come. This in market every year they write. All books are same, written in different way. This is how it is. Because the source of those books are same, which we know that what is the source. You do not. So they will write the same thing in different way. Any book you can take. Plus, yes, there are some good things like say PDF file. So those who have difficulty in understanding ethics, etc., you can take this PDF file downloadable, and it is government, let's say DOPT manual and training. So it is given. So it is good, and also let's say legitimate. And it gives in a very simple way about ethics, morality. It explains, so you can understand about morality and ethics. Then when we say this ethics in governance, ARC second, so again it is a good report and you study it simply because if you don't have some particular types of optional, so you have lack of knowledge related to administration. Basically the practical aspect of administration. So it gives you that some applied knowledge. It gives, let's say, related to administration, various aspects of administration, legal aspects, political aspects, administrative aspects. So that way it enhances your understanding. So this we can consider. Plus this we give just for your practice idea at initial stage. Suppose there is a particular question. So how its answer is written. You can learn from that. Similarly, case study is given, you can learn from that. So this is how it is given. Plus current compilation, you can read it because we compile current developments related to ethics, and those compilations are based on recent developments, whatever the recent happenings are. Let's say that one recent happening is related to accident, train accident. So what is the moral aspect in that train accident? Do you find any moral element? Anyhow, so this is what let's say. So it can give you some moral aspect. If you read this or in newspaper also, it comes moral aspect. One is technical aspect, next is moral aspect, rest is YouTube aspects. The way YouTube wala can tell you. So this will find anyhow. So these are some let's resource considered. In ethics, there are two things. One we say as concept, second we say application. Concept you say theory. This application you say as practice. So when we write any answer is nothing but concept related to philosophy. Plus examples. Reference. So this is what we say as theory part. This is what we say as this application part. If you are able to maintain a balance, then it is a good answer. Imbalance is lack of understanding of this paper. Some people are good in examples. Some people are good in this. Those who are good in both, So that is how it is. They can write good answers. Now, we can know concepts by some this and that self-learning also. We can know examples. You know more examples than concepts. This as of now. So, because you have grown up so far, you have grown up with certain elements of education, isn't it? There is a raw aspect of ethics in you already. What we will do is that we will refine a bit by conceptual understanding. This. So, if you have ethical in yourself, you don't have to even study much ethics. If there is lack of ethical aspect, you have to master ethics so that at least in examination you can write ethical answer. Yes. And there is a challenge. Anyhow. So, very simple it is. This paper is not very challenging, difficult. Only thing we have to understand this concept part, philosophy part. Or let's say that simple, we say responsibility, moral responsibility. So, simple question can be, what do you understand by moral responsibility? This. What do you understand by moral responsibility? You have to define it. What is moral responsibility? And they may say that define moral responsibility with examples. The UPSC also writes, write examples. Can we define moral responsibility with right example? Right. Examples we know many, but can we have a right example? Yes. So that is how understanding will bring. So let's say Hitler also had moral responsibility, isn't it? Towards people. Anyhow, once a person wrote, in case of we ask a question which I keep referring in class. Once a person wrote, the question was related to wisdom, and he wrote example of Hitler. Hitler also had wisdom. This. So it depends how you write the examples, isn't it? So that way we can consider. So since examples, etc., etc., this is how people do this. Second thing is that now henceforth you should have also an ethical bent of thinking, ethical bent of mind. How can you do better? By having some ethical type of thinking. As I told that, railway accident. Can you tell any moral element in? Again, I will ask railway, even if it is first class, but or I will not write. What is moral element? Yes.
People voluntarily donated blood.
People voluntarily,
Donated blood.
right? They have taken moral responsibility. People have taken moral responsibility.
Sir,
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. So, yes, empathy. So, some a bit things people know, people are saying this. So, when we say ki moral responsibility, it starts with the driver. It starts with the driver, the person who was driving the train. This is first. The persons who are responsible for managing the signals. Second. And those who are responsible for maintaining the tracks. The three persons. It's three categories. Then the responsibility goes to the higher level, that is called railway minister. This. Why? Because leader is held responsible. Moral responsibility is leader should behave exemplary way. Lead from front. Not only in positive situation. This. Then you may have read some reports that railway lacks infrastructure, railway lacks proper staff, railway lacks this and that. CAG audit report आपने पढ़ा होगा अगर आप newspaper पढ़ रहे हो तो, isn't it? CAG report, National Crime Record Bureau, facts, some data related to this. Then anti-collision, let's say that की device, then Kavach, बहुत सारी चीजें चल रही हैं, isn't it? So whether higher authorities are also responsible, whether it could have been avoided. So then you have to know that what exactly the moral responsibility in such situations in some other countries. Do we have any precedent? That also we try to say. Precedent is that Lal Bahadur Shastri, he tendered his resignation, although it was not accepted. But just again one accident happened, train accident. And that time when he tendered resignation, so now Nehru accepted. Anyhow, before this let's say BJP government, there was railway accident. And that is how Nitish Kumar had resigned that time as railway minister. So what we are here talking is a moral aspect. So how we are trying to pick up the things. Now suppose the same topic you deal in your GS paper. Isn't it? In GS paper you'll deal in different way. You'll try to know technicalities, the signal system, isn't it? What was the exact cause of this derailment? So that exact cause you'll try to know. Then those aspects, what is Kavach, what is anti-collision device, that you'll try to know. So basically then you'll try to know also the accidents in past, whether there were accidents in past, etc. Your knowledge or the way you approach for the first three papers, the papers have their own approach. But when we approach for this paper, it has its own approach. That is how you have to develop that kind of understanding. Ethical thinking. And why I ask moral aspect? So moral aspect, let's say that if you take any topic, it does have a moral dimension. And if you are able to relate it, the moral dimension, you are able to make it out, so then you can say that you will be able to relate a given question. When a given question in the paper is asked, and it asks, let's say they directly ask also the examples. In fact, they ask the applied questions. If you see, last year, first two questions, big questions, applied questions. Why civil servants give preference to those activities which give, immediate results, then let's say those activities which, core and non-core, they divided. Core activities, non-core activities. So why civil servants focus on non-core activities? It's a very applied question. You will be able to understand core aspect, non-core aspect. This, if you are not able to understand it, not able to relate it by any right example, what is core, what is non-core, what is the core aspect of the role of civil servant? So that is relative. It is relative. At generic level, public service. Anything is a public service. No. Guiding students in civil service, some, let's say, newly qualified civil servants. No, they guide civil servants, means aspirants. That is also public service. And serving to citizen is also public service. Isn't it? So what is core, what is non-core? So who will be able to give a right example on that? That will be tested. People have knowledge. This. So gradually, let's say that the paper has also become applied. Anyhow, so then we'll take your topics. So paper, if you see 2013. Now we are in 2023. Almost 10 years of paper. So when paper is started, 2013, so there were some, let's say that, these are that types of sayings, it is ethics paper, not philosophy, subject, not public administration, isn't it? Still some that kind of optional orientations people can have. So there was a tussle that how the paper will go, turn up. Gradually the paper has become more and more applied, less and less theoretical. It has moved more towards, let's say, if you say that, paper has gone towards applied side, less theoretical. This, like especially if you take last year paper, before that, since you may not, have you seen the papers? UPSC papers since 2013? So, I guess you may have prelims experience also, not at least this year, 2023. Is it? How many of you have appeared at least once? So, suffered people, isn't it? So you appeared. Anyhow, so the question is that gradually it has become applied, this paper. If you take theory questions and case studies, means we say section A, section B. It is related to case study. You may be aware, theory and case studies. First they try to maintain 50-50, 125, 125. Then they have made it 130, 120. 130 they ask theory question and 120 they ask case studies. So 13 questions are total in case of theory and then 6 questions are total in case of case studies. Now, gradually they have made the theory sections more applied. This applied in the sense that they have been asking more questions related to those topics we wrote: applied ethics, civil services, probity in governance. That side. Less theoretical question. Even when they ask question related to social psychology theory section, at least one question they will ask related to theory like ethics, morality, relationship or something like that. Then they can ask related to emotional intelligence. But that also we have to write emotional intelligence in the context of administration. Similarly, case studies have also been more and more applied in nature, and they try to ask some case studies which can be general and some case studies which are based on recent developments. Recent developments, like even we expect railway accident as case study. Any such incidents which are happening, they can be a potential question because they have asked those questions. Like say 2017, if you remember, if you see 2017 paper, 3 questions in case studies were only from civil services, based on civil services, and very difficult. One case study was related to bona fide error, mala fide error, which people do not understand because there is only error, isn't it? Second, let's say that called case study related to doctrine of competent bureaucracy. They have mentioned that. And third is related to one IPS officer, that is called Punjab related drug case. They did not mention Punjab, but it was expected. So that way you can see. And bona fide error, mala fide error case study was based on SC Gupta. SC Gupta case, you may be aware. SC Gupta was ex-coal secretary who was punished for, let's say, coal scam. And after retirement, he was punished. So his case was going on. That case gave rise to the debate called bona fide error versus mala fide error. This. Once they asked case study related to midday meal in a Dalit cook, which was related to either a development in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka. I guess that development happened in Karnataka in November. That year paper was in December, I guess, or November, and September the development happened. What we are trying to say is that the developments which are happening around you, you should have a watch over that. That will bring you connectivity in this, and you can learn many things related to ethics from those sections because paper is now applied in nature. Even they have asked in 2022 some questions related to digitalization, ICT, but it's applied question. And then once they ask a question related to Swachh Bharat mission and social influence. Swachh Bharat mission and social influence. No, you know Swachh Bharat mission, but you do not know theoretically social influence. I will not ask. So, anyhow, I will ask when we will take the topic. So, Swachh Bharat mission scheme they have asked. A scheme in paper 4. Yes. So, that way you can consider that it is applied in nature. The paper is applied. Next time they can ask any other thing and you have to write on this. So, second thing is let's whatever the thing we are talking, you should when you read newspapers, yes, when you read newspapers and you have a separate copy. In that separate copy, you can make note on ethics related things. Like as I told you, railway accident and moral aspect. Time to time they bring some of the moral things, right, which you should have a watch. You can note it. That will help you in enriching your answers. No, like last year, moonlighting was quite in use. You are aware moonlighting, isn't it? So, moonlighting in corporate sector. Recently, head of SDFC Bank remarked, he has written a book. He remarked that workplace is not a socializing place. Rather, when we write about workplace, what you will say? It is a socializing place. But he said it is not a socializing place. Right. And we have work culture as a topic, you know that. We have work culture as a topic. Yes. So these are some of the things which, let's say, time to time come and you remember. So these things give you an edge, let's say, some novelty in your answer, newness in your answer. Right. Which, let's say, other people, that is how the difference. The person who has read notes, let's say that, last year before that, he may not be that way connected. And the person who is writing today, so that is connectivity. And that is what the difference we can say. Anyhow, let's start. We'll start with topic 1. That is called or simple, let's say. First we'll try to know, then we'll try to know other things. Topics do not matter. But yes, while taking each section, we'll further write you that what are other aspects of the topics. As of now, we have to know about ethics, basic aspect of ethics. No, what is ethics? So when we say something as right, you say is right, you say wrong, we keep saying it, isn't it? We keep saying as right or wrong, anything. So human conduct, and what we say it, right or wrong. So on what basis we say anything right or wrong? Effect, basis. So you are saying consequence. On the basis of consequence. Yes, yes, what we think. Effects, you want to say. We think. Yes, you would say conscience. Or let's say means. Any other?
is appropriate in that situation, it is right. Sometimes it may be wrong.
Yes, repeat.
If it is appropriate to that situation, it is right. If it is inappropriate, it will be wrong.
Situation. Circumstance. Wisdom will come here. Yes. Right. Any other?
Values.
Yes. So what we think. So it can be your values. No. Belief. Any other?
There is no universally established standards, nothing but ethical standards.
Yes. Social norms, etc. Yes. So there are so many standards, you can say, isn't it? There are so many standards, there are so many bases, we can say, on which we say something as right or wrong. Yes. This we can consider. And many a time it happens, let's say, if we reduce it all, it can be, let's say, that this what one thinks and other what are universal standards, isn't it? And what one thinks is basically it is called moral belief. Yes. So we have lots of social, cultural, other such practices, and they also say as something right or wrong, isn't it? Lots of social, cultural, moral factors that we have that also become basis for right or wrong. And there are also universal standards. Right? So this way, let's say that we say right and wrong. But ethics, let's say, when we talk about ethics has its own standards, whether you like it or not. Right? It has its own established standards, we say that. So any conduct can be right and wrong on the basis of what we say, what you think, what others say. But that can be considered right or wrong. To be considered it as ethical or unethical, it should have to conform to some standards. Yes. So anything cannot be considered as ethical or unethical unless it conforms to some standards. And those standards we see as established standards. This, or you can say that normative theories, let's say. Those who have mentioned some of the things, they will have some prior knowledge. That's why they have mentioned. They will have some prior knowledge of ethics. That's why some people are mentioning established standard. Some people are saying this conscience. But it could have not come at first place. You go and ask in your family. Family means if it is not, let's say, that highly educated, right? Otherwise it will know also, isn't it? But ask to the common people, what is right and what is wrong. Society में इसी के लिए तो fight है, isn't it? Right and wrong. So बहुत controversies भी है, बहुत सारे issues है. Although I do not want to take up in the first class itself, but we cannot avoid. So you can see what is in society happening. Right. Let's take neutral example, isn't it? So neutral example is that not related to interreligious aspect. Neutral example is intercaste marriage, isn't it? The family is if of higher caste, and let's say that and boy belongs to the higher caste, isn't it? Girl belongs to the lower caste. So family can have resistance. Why it has resistance? Societal norms are, it thinks itself something, right, about higher caste and lower caste. The society has a belief that higher caste is something of higher standard and lower caste is of something lower standard. Can we say? So, it is in our psyche. It has not gone. This you should know that. So, that aspect. So, this is how we'll consider that right and wrong as a basis on the basis of societal aspects. This. Then interreligious की तो बात ही मत करो, वैसे ही चल रहा है आजकल, isn't it? So you can see this interreligious, that aspect. So religion also plays important role in your moral belief, considering this or that as right, isn't it? Religion, and then social norms, they also play important role. In that, ethics has its own standards. This, that is what we have to understand. So anything to consider it as ethical, right, it has to have certain standards. What are those standards? We have to know that. Since it deals with human, let's say that ethics, when we say that, it deals with human character and conduct. It's about character and conduct, human conduct. So, and when we talk about human conduct, the human conduct, we are concerned whether human conduct is right or wrong. And human conduct can be right or wrong on the basis of several standards. This conduct can be considered right on the basis of family standard, societal standard, caste, religion, or let's say national, and then universal. This. So, this way you can take this. Universal standard. It means these standards may not necessarily conform to universal standards, isn't it? How to tell it? There is a difference between human and citizen. No. So whether your duty as a human is superior or duty as citizen is superior. Human don't want to be patriotic. Human and citizen. So there is conflict, isn't it? As a human, both are important. Don't tell this or that. Both are important and their positions depends on situation. This citizen also it is important, human also important. Both we can serve. But time will come, we'll talk. But you can easily distinguish. But which one will be of higher order? Human or citizen? See, we are born as a human. Society divides us. This you should know. And Rousseau once told, you may be aware that human is born free. Right? Human is born free, but in society he finds in chain. This. So, and all the moral philosophy, all your political philosophies, and other things are based on human. This. So, yes, if you have a choice or if you say higher orders, it is human. Right? Because we are known as human. Right? This. Only to live in this world with peace and harmony, with a settled, stable life, idea of citizenship, sovereignty, state came. Isn't it? It is like You know that in family also, let's say that separation happens, still they live together. So, but that way you can distinguish what we are saying between human and citizen. Ethics is concerned about human, not citizen. It does not talk citizen duties, it talks human. Right. How can we take, let me give you an example that you are aware about case related to Apple and one lone wolf attacker who was killed in US and he had Apple phone. 4 or 5 years back story it is, isn't it? US FBI wanted to crack the code of that phone so that it can get access to the information in the phone. Therefore, FBI asked to Apple company to crack this, help in cracking this code, and Apple company refused. Apple company refused. Let's take, before knowing what happened in India, suppose CBI asks to a company and phone is related to a terrorist and company refuses. What will happen? जो लंपट लोग पैट्रियोटिक हैं हमारे देश में, sorry to say that, I say them लंपट, फर्स्ट क्लास में ही सही, but let's say that. So वो पहुंच जाएंगे, उस कंपनी का जहां जहां ऑफिस होगा उसको तोड़ देंगे और जो फोन होगा अच्छा अच्छा वाला फोन लेके चले जाएंगे. Patriotism. Anyhow, Apple company refused. Nothing happened against Apple company. No any protest. No raid on Apple company. Right. Later on, code was cracked by FBI with the help of Israel. This Israel, let's say, known for all this. That's right. Yes. Yes, acceptable. Let's take it as first class. And we are trying to explain this. We are trying to make you a sense of ethics. How ethics is different from other things. This sense we are making. We are not supposed to go in details of either this or that. Time will come, we'll talk on that. So by this you can understand that. Now what we will do is that case, we'll try to bring citizenship. Then we'll try to bring patriotism. Then we'll try to say the company has also some, let's say that moral responsibility. For what? Patriotism. Helping state to maintain security. After all, it is related to terrorism. Isn't it? This. But no logics were not all. These debates do not happen in US. Debates simply happen between two groups of corporate sector. One supported ki yes, it should have been held. Other supported ki no, he is right, he did not help. This you can say. Anyhow, what is right and wrong situation, etc. will tell, we'll take later on. But let's give, when we talk about ethical standards. So ethical standards, anything to say ethical, it must have some standards. And which may not necessarily be the standards of family, society, country. Right. It has its own universal standards. It means ki what is ethical, its standard lies outside you. And what is moral, its standard lies inside you. This. So as of now, you may not have a very right understanding of ethical standards, but you have moral standards. You have certain understanding of right and wrong on the basis of your own knowledge so far. Right. That's why you may be saying someone as moral, someone as immoral. isn't it? He's morally right, he's not morally right, he's right, he's wrong. You may be saying, but they can be on the basis of your own individual understanding. Okay. To have ethical understanding or ethicality, we have to understand this. And these things are dealt by normative theories. Why we say normative theories? Because conduct, character, norms. So, human character and conduct is based on certain norms and standards. And those theories which deal with those norms and standards, we say them as normative theories. That's why we say normative theories of ethics. And they have established those standards. They have established those standards. Whether you agree, do not agree, does not matter. It's not with me, with their theories. So whether one agrees, one does not agree with their theory, it's that personal choice. But they have given some moral standards. And those moral standards, some people refer consequences, some people are saying circumstances, some people say the conscience or the means aspect. These are all standards that they have given. Those standards we say as established standards. What do we mean by established standards? They have been theoretically explained and they have been accepted. If you want to have your own standard, you have to first counter their standard and establish your standard, which should be accepted. This, but we don't have to intend to become philosopher like them, isn't it? Anyhow, so ethics will say, or when we say ethical conduct, so simply we can say that any conduct which is based on established standard will be considered ethical. Right? What is that established standard? So we'll talk this all later on. So human character and conduct should be ethical, although it is moral also. Your conduct can be moral, our conduct can be moral, but not necessarily ethical. Can we say? Most of the time we are moral, less ethical. Right? Or professionally you will become more ethical, less moral, and in society you will be more moral, less ethical. Is it like that? Yes. Because when you are writing ethics answer, you will write as if you are ethical. Isn't it? And when you follow in personal life, you may not necessarily. Is it like that? Anyhow, we don't want to bring that kind of debate. Right? So ethics is defined in this way. So let's write on this. Defining ethics. In simple term, it can be defined. Simple term, it can be defined as this. Defined as human character and conduct. Human character and conduct. Character and conduct, which conforms to established standards or universal standards change in paragraph, then you write ethics deals with human character and conduct to know right and wrong aspects of human conduct, to know right and wrong aspects of human conduct, with an aim to achieve the highest good the highest good in human conduct. The highest good in human conduct. Change paragraph, let's. It means highest good. Highest good is summum bonum. It is French language. The chief good. It means, first, it does not only deal with human character and conduct. It does not only deal with human character and conduct. Second, it tries to establish standards. Sorry, it tries to establish universal standards. It tries to establish universal standards. Next, it aims at improving human conduct. It aims at improving human conduct from good, better to best. From good, better to best. Changing paragraph. Then, since it deals with human character and conduct, correct, human character and conduct, it is considered a field of normative science. Field of normative science. Field of normative science. Right. Human character and conduct. Human character and conduct is considered right and wrong on the basis of ideals of human conduct, which are set on the basis of rationality and critical thinking. Hence, human character and conduct is compared with what ought to be. What ought to be. The what ought to be is, further let's say, the what ought to be is established standard. Established standards. It means there are some ideal standards. Set by moral philosophy. Which become basis for understanding rightness or wrongness of human conduct. Which become basis for understanding rightness or wrongness of human conduct. Some of the established standards are for selflessness, selflessness. Next, honesty and integrity. Honesty and integrity. Next, responsibility. Next, compassion. Next, justice. Justice. Next, wisdom. Wisdom. Next, empathy. Next, truthfulness. Next, peace and harmony. Next, tolerance. Tolerance. So they can be considered. So basically what we are trying to say is, when we have human character and conduct, so there are already some established standards. Some established standards, let's say that peace. If someone likes war, we cannot accept as war as a good value. Peace is an acceptable value, you can consider. We prefer peace. If you do something for the sake of peace, so it is good. No. But people can believe nowadays war is acceptable, isn't it? Standard. Yes. Anyhow, but peace is established standard. What do we mean by established standard? So बहुत सारे philosophers ने अपना जो है mind उस पे, they have applied their mind on that. They have given their philosophy on that. Why peace is established standard? Why there should be peace? If you apply your mind, you will apply just for a fraction of second, isn't it? A fraction of what they have. So this is established, means many philosophers have already given lots of thinking on that, lots of logics on that. That's how it has become established. And we say, let's say, truthfulness. Truth, being truthful or being true to yourself, this is how it can say that. Lies cannot be accepted. So are we truthful? We know ourselves better, isn't it? That can be one standard. So whatever the standards we are saying, some examples, they have already been given and logic, they have been criticized, they have been accepted, that we can consider. That's why, let's say, these values were also propagated during ancient time and they have survived, and we say that India has some important, let's say, those philosophical values which we try to give to the world also, isn't it? Peace, harmony, tolerance, etc., etc. Now, how tolerance is a well-established standard? You should tolerate it, isn't it? Tolerance cannot be seen as weakness. No. Tolerance is a sign of weakness, people think, isn't it? Forgiveness is another established value. Forgive. Should we forgive people? We do not accept it. No. We want to take revenge. नहीं तो सर पे चढ़ जाएगा. Sorry to say that. Indian language में ऐसे बोलते हैं. So forgiving. So you want to give, let's say that you want to, let's say, return. Let's say if anyone does something, you want to return in the same coin, isn't it? Or in a bigger coin also. Yes. But Mahatma Gandhi, this question has been asked also. Right. We cannot forgive. Forgiveness is a trait of a strong. Right. One day time will come, we'll deal this question also. So, this you can say forgiveness. So, when we say establish standards, this, or when we say anyone as ethical, conduct is ethical. So that conduct is on the basis of some established standard. These established standards have been established on the basis of thinking like what ought to be, or in a simple way, what should be. No. There is an ideal in mind. What should be the conduct? You say something is right and wrong, an ideal is in your mind, or in society, and on that basis you compare it. So, let's say that children are expected by parents. What they expect? They should be ideal children, good children. So, it is expected that you will behave in certain fashion. Right? You will respect parents. You will respect elders. So those are ought to be aspect. What we expect from them. So on the basis of that, this is how they have set the standards. What ought to be. That's why we say it as normative theories, you can say, or science, you can say. If you have some optionals, so it will help you understanding. If you have mathematics optional, so it will not help. No, some optionals deal with normative, empirical. No, especially sociology, anthropology, history, political science, public administration, psychology. If you belong beyond that, so it will take time to understand this. So it is something normative or something like this. Now, how they determine it? The mode of determining any standard is logic and critical thinking. This. So philosophy, let's say, this normative theories. What are, let's say, that those normative theories? Let's take. I'll explain at later stage. These are broad. Basically, there are only two major theoretical explanations of established standards. Others are supportive. They support here and there. So, theoretically, when we say something as right or something as wrong, right? So, on what basis we say and why they have given, how they have given all these things, right? So, as you were saying, any conduct. So, many a time we say it is right or wrong on the basis of outcome. No. Largely we are outcome oriented. End is well, all is well. No. This, on the basis of outcome we say that human conduct is right. So, if outcome in examination is right, so we can manipulate also, isn't it? Because we want good outcome. Basically, we manipulate our view. You feel like writing something else, but still you write which UPSC expects, isn't it? This, in interview also we speak lies, isn't it? What you were doing in these years? So I was running NGO. Right. So easy to have certification of NGO, isn't it? This. Anyhow, you do not want to say very straightforward that I was preparing and I was not able to clear. No, it is very straightforward, simple answer. Yes, but we try to manipulate it. Why? We are outcome. Most of the things in the world we are manipulating on the basis of outcomes. And if outcomes are good, you are a good person. Isn't it? आप पैसे वाले हैं, you are a good person. You have wealth, means house, good this and that, isn't it? If a person who is very honest, but he is not having all these things, he will not be considered as a successful person. No. Anyhow, outcome is driving our life. So it has become one aspect. But next is how we get action itself. Action itself, isn't it? Action itself means irrespective of the consequence. What the consequence our action has. If action is not right, then right. If action is not right, the person will not behave. Right? There are some people who are action oriented. Action means they will behave only when the action is right. Otherwise, they will not take any such action. Means they will not try to manipulate their means for right action. Do we have such people? No. Right. So it is difficult, although again it is the first class, so we don't want to be so much judgmental. Anyhow, what we are trying to say is that this way you'll find that ethics has its own standards, which we'll have to explain in terms of theories, not today. So this is what can. If you find any established standard, in that highest established standard, it is this. Right. It is the highest standard in ethics set by Immanuel Kant. Yes. Other standards are not of that high level, but they are also standards. Right. Which you understand, utilitarian, anything which maximizes your gains, it is considered good. Right. So we consider it as ethical. These are a bit complex, different types, we'll talk it. Let's come to this. It is also, let's say, basically theories, technically they are divided in terms of agent theory, you say, action theory, you say. How we judge human action. Whether we judge human action when human behaves or on the basis of human character. You have developed your own character, built your own character so far. You are known in society. You are known in society, good or bad person, isn't it? So if you do anything wrong, so whether that character helps in taking decision about you or the action, only the action, both together. But suppose we do not know the character of the person. Action. That's why you should not take decisions unless you know the person. Should we wait for? Many times we should not wait for. But many times we do not know the person and we judge him. That is how the society has become highly judgmental. This and misinformation, it happens. So situation may be different. Why you have acted so that's that way, but then you take a decision. So it will help you understanding this also. So what we are trying to say is that there are several established standards told by them, which will tell you one day basically in this paper, if you find any theoretical aspect, so it is these theories. Thereafter, we do not have theoretical aspect. When we wrote in the syllabus also moral philosophy, it is this moral philosophy, which will take at least 3 classes to explain them. So they are, let's say that is substantial in nature. We'll explain one day. Here just we are trying to highlight in beginning what is ethics and what is ethical. And when we say something ethical, it is based on some established standards, and those established standards are given by them. So we have to understand those established standards of human. This because it is related to human character and conduct. So the way human has evolved. Today you are belonging to this society, but society has already come to this stage. Already there may be several developments in society, and then you belong to this present society. So the society which has come to this age, let's say that it may have established certain standards. That is how we mean by established standard. That does not mean that new standards cannot be set. New standards can also be set. Let's say LGBT concept, no third gender. So only let's say 2 gender we divided the society, right? Male and female. Then we have a third gender also. So society can, let's say, can establish new standards. But at the same time, let's say that there are, let's say, those normative philosophies which set those standards. On that basis, we say any human conduct as ethical or unethical. Hence, if you know those standards, you will be able to scrutinize human conduct better. If you know those conduct, it will help in your scrutiny. Then you cannot very, let's say, quickly say without knowing the person as ethical or unethical. It will broaden your understanding about human conduct and character. This you can consider. Still, there are some other dimensions. It is not only these established standards, there are some other conceptual aspects which we have to understand to know about human character and conduct. Like intention of human behavior. So intention also plays important role. Many a time your intention is right, consequence is wrong. No. Is it like that? Your intention is right. Prelims 2023. Right. But consequence is right. Today they have given results also, isn't it? Although CAT has passed an order to look into this matter. But I guess they give results so that legal problems do not delay the result. This. So intention is also taken into consideration. Plus circumstances are also taken into consideration. No, circumstances that those who have not cleared prelims this year, they will be forgiven. No, there will be leniency. No. Because this year paper was difficult. When it was difficult, so circumstances were different. Anyhow, the circumstances also play important role, let's say that. And no doubt consequence also play important role. It means there are several factors which work as established standards. One, that as we have told that it's the quality means character of the human. Second, as let's say that the consequence of the action. Third is called intention, consequences, and next we say that action, the quality of action, whether it is right or wrong. This. So these factors can help or they can work as established standards. So let's write further on this few lines. On the basis of normative theories, on the basis of normative theories, following moral principles are considered. Moral principles are considered. Established standards. Established standards. First, character of the human. Character of the human. Next, intention. Intention. Next, circumstances. Circumstances. Next, quality of human action. Quality of human action. Next, consequence of human action. Consequence of human action. Human action. Such standards, changing paragraph, such standards in broad sense, such standards in broad sense can be categorized as deontology versus teleology. Deontology versus teleology, as they are the two major philosophies. They are the two major philosophies which are popular in guiding human conduct as established standards. That's the subheading, right? How such moral standards are established. How such moral standards are established. They're established on the basis of critical thinking. First, critical thinking. Next, rationality. Next, reasoning and logic. That philosophers have propounded moral principles on the basis of reasoning, logic, and critical thinking. And they have explained human character and conduct. Like most of the moral thinkers consider human as selfless individuals. That is, they have a positive view of human. Like Aristotle considers human is ethical animal, social animal, and political animal. Yes. So far you may be knowing political animal and social animal. For the sake of ethics, we are talking ethical animal. Anyhow, gradually you will know all these things, how it is. Anyhow. So what we are again saying, when they are explaining conduct, anything about conduct right or wrong, in essence, ethics deals with standards of human character and conduct, whether that is right or wrong. So how we come to know about anything right or wrong, as we have told this. But this, let's say that right and wrong also has been explained in terms of human nature. This. So whether you have positive nature, whether you have negative nature, no. Do we have positive human nature or negative? Are we positive or negative? Both. Right. So let's take early stage now. So early stage of life now. Which one is better? Can we say now you are better? Early stage. Past was better. नहीं बोल सकते, पता नहीं. So you are not sure about yourself. If you are not better, so you have not grown up. So basically, human endeavor is that you should become better. As with the passage of time, can we say? Because early stage of life, you are not having that level of senses. You are trying to grow, morally you are trying to grow. You don't have your own moral understanding. What parents say, you follow. Now you question what parents say also. Isn't it? That is your critical thinking. You may not necessarily agree what parents say. So, but during childhood, there would be more incidents of agreeing what they say. Or there was no point of saying no. Is it like that? So you have grown, your moral sense has grown up. That's why you are able to logic also. You are able to think. You will give logic to them also. Isn't it? You give logic to them also. This, so Sudha Murthy has one YouTube, one video, let's say that you can see that how her own, let's say that what you can say, she has talked about her own, I guess, right, niece, and there, let's say, she is saying how they are different. This related to food, I guess. This. So if you take, parents will tell you don't eat junk food, so you may have your logics, isn't it? You know they are also healthy. Right. Anyhow, the question is that it's not about what the matter you are talking. It's, let's say, you may have your own sense of judging something as right and wrong. And on what basis you are trying to judge it? So you can give some positive aspects of also junk food. Isn't it? There's no any positive. I guess companies, those which sell, they can tell you some positive. Anyhow, but you have some logics grown, senses grown. So that is what they have also done. They, when they are explaining, they have also explained on this basis. Can we say, yes, nature, right and wrong. So they are also trying to explain on the basis of our nature, let's say. Our nature, again, we'll talk later on what our nature is. Whether we are positive nature, we have negative nature. Broadly, human has positive nature. Because continuously you try to do positive things and avoid negative things. Is it like that? We are more inclined towards doing positive things in life and minimizing negative things. Right? This, and there is what you can say that the hope for ethics lies. Because we try to focus more on, we avoid negative things and we try to do some positive things. Or gradually, let's say, you want to become a better person. Isn't it? So, a better person, let's say that. Or let's say, although again, let's see, what we can say, if you take Gita philosophies, it talks about perfection, human perfection. As we grow, there should be perfection in our behavior. This, what is perfection in our behavior? We should control our senses. If we are able to control our senses, we will be able to move towards perfection. This. So, this better person does not mean whether you have become successful, whether you have more money, whether you have this and that status. Better person is, can you control your senses? This. And if you can control your senses are grown up, that is how you will get wisdom. And when wisdom is grown up, that will give you knowledge about what is right and what is wrong. This. So that's why parents have at times better understanding of right and wrong because they have experienced their life. Right. And we, let's say that you still not experience, you may not have better understanding of right and wrong, although you have a very high level of energy, you can say that, aggression, you can say that, right? Motivation, we can say that. And by that force, you want to overpower them. This, but that's not senses. Anyhow, let's come back to what we are talking. So, one more thing we have added that they try to judge right or wrong on the basis of explaining it exactly. After all, what they are trying to explain in human conduct. There would be something they will explain in human conduct. Right. What is that in human conduct they will try to explain. So, the theory that we have told, they will try to explain human nature and human character. That's why virtue ethics, name itself, that. They focus that if we are able to build good human character, then character will help in good conduct. isn't it? That's why parents try their best to imbibe good, let's say, values in you, so that you grow as a good human. And when you are a good human, so they have trust sitting at home, isn't it? Delhi में वो ठीक ठाक से ही होगा. Sorry to say that, isn't it? So, right. नहीं तो उनको डर होता है कहीं दिल्ली में जाके, right. वैसे ही भी वारेन काफी लिबरल हो गया है. It's very liberal place. So this we can consider, isn't it? So if they will find that liberal place, they can feel threatened. Yes. So character, let's say, in that situation, character will help. You know, ये ऐसा नहीं करेगा, isn't it? Or you will not do like that. This. So because easily you can find also women also smoking in ORM, right? And it is not gender stereotyping, but this is how they want to assert they are equal, isn't it? So equality can be asserted not by only smoking, isn't it? Anyhow, it is their choice. So it's like a very liberal society. This now they will say that also human is positive, but they are not concerned with character. They are concerned with action. They judge human action, and on that human action, they try to say action itself should be right. Most of the time, when we are taking action, we are tense, concerned about consequence. This, and because of consequence, we change our action. This most of the time. Because we want good outcome. In everything, there is good outcome. Isn't it? बच्चे को भी अच्छे मार्क्स चाहिए, isn't it? But child has not yet grown up. But उसके ऊपर भी प्रेशर है. ठीक. उसके ऊपर भी बहुत प्रेशर है. This, and for that sake of pressure, the child may manipulate the things. This. So that can be, let's say, that key aspect. They say that the outcome just opposite to each other, the outcome of the action, and he say that the action itself. So character, action itself, that we have told, plus you can see that the circumstances, intention, those things ultimately, let's say, help in judging about any human action as right or wrong. Now, how you will judge it? Let's take a situation. Suppose there is a person, Mr. A, and he keeps Mr. C in confinement. Okay. So any confinement, or let's say that any situation, basically Mr. C has committed murder. Mr. C has committed murder. Mr. C is working at Mr. A house, and he has committed a murder. Basically, he has murdered Mr. D. He was also a servant. Both are servant working at same house. So he keeps him under confinement, and he, let's say that he goes, Mr. A goes to his guru for taking any such advice. Right. Meanwhile, Mr. C dies. By the time he comes back, C dies. No. Now let's say Mr. X, he charges Mr. A for murder. He is the son of Mr. A. As per Plato, it is Plato, let's say that. Plato has given this narration. So, first case study is also considered in ethics. So, Mr. X is son of Mr. A, and he charges him of murder. It is act of murder. What do you think?
consensus.
Yes? Forget about charges. Just we are trying to have some critical thinking. What critical thinking? Do you think Mr. A is anyway responsible for death of Mr. C?
Maybe keeping Mr. C in confinement, I don't think that it will be a particular reason for that.
Keeping in confinement was the cause of death. Let me clarify. So that he should not run away by the time he comes. Yes. Follow the law. Call the police.
It may be situationally, it may be unintentionally done. But if keeping in confinement is the reason of his death, then it is unintentionally done by mistake. As per like she didn't do it intentionally, basically.
Let's change the example to present situation. Suppose there is a prison and a person is in custody. Right. In prison, person is in custody. And then there is a death of that person in custody. Whether the, let's say, officer who are responsible for keeping that person in custody will be held responsible. First, we have to establish the cause of death. Yes, the cause of death should be, but generally it happens that because of confinement, when you are in a confinement, so that result into lack of basic, let's say, availability of basic needs you can consider. It can be water, it can be food, it can be proper air, this you can say. And because of that, being in that solitary confinement, the person may die. The health may not support this. Suppose it is the cause, then can we hold that officer responsible?
Yes, sir. If the confinement is itself inhuman, so definitely they are responsible.
Nowadays, you know that in jails deaths are happening, isn't it? Right. But that's a different thing. But what we are trying to say is that the reasoning is that, the logic is that when you keep anyone under any such confinement, you have moral obligation. It creates a moral obligation to keep that person safe. And if you go talk legally, it is rule of law. But since law we are not talking, we are teaching ethics. Right? So it is moral obligation. It is moral obligation to keep that person safe. How you keep it, you don't have to be told. Right? That much knowledge you should have. Right? I will keep that person, let's say, in that confinement so that he does not die or he does not face that kind of death-like situation. Basically, this Mr. A, Plato says, it is the logic Plato that gives. So, Mr. A was charged for murder because he is responsible for death of Mr. C. When he is going for his guru to take advice, he knows how much time it will take to come back. He knows how much time it will take. So whether he has taken all those measures so that by the time he comes back, Mr. C remains alive. This. he does not face any such death-like situation. Yes. So that is the problem, even if directly he is not responsible for it. But he had the moral obligation, moral responsibility. And on that basis, he will judge his conduct as ethical or unethical. His conduct will not be considered ethical. Yes. Although it is still not an appropriate time to have logics, we are still in the process, just we have started. But that is how ethics is going to teach you some critical thinking, logicking the things, thinking from multiple perspective or different perspective, isn't it? So this will take this example later, means another example. Suppose there means a parent decide to sell one child, right? He had 3 children and he had 3 children. He decided to sell one. Right? Is it ethical? Why it is not ethical?
Certainly it is not ethical.
But child is not having, child has not moral sense, so child cannot take decision for his her body. Parents will take as long as child is not adult. What is conclusively? Yes, yes. That time will come, we'll tell you how it is. Right. But it is a clear case where you have a clear understanding ki no. Isn't it? You have a very clear understanding it is wrong. It means that there is understanding in you on some of the things that you can take a clear stand, whether it is right or it is wrong. And here it is that human cannot be sold. This, no matter whatever the, let's say that situation, you cannot sell human. It is inhuman. Right. Whether law, whatever says, that does not matter. But we cannot sell human. This, that is how the logic you can give. And it is not a right act also. It is not also a right act. This, others will talk you when we'll take, let's say that theory, so we'll take this example again. So basically what we try to do is that we judge any particular situation on the basis of what we are saying here. Here you are applying your general logic. It is very obvious, general logic is we cannot sell human. But that example, before this example, we gave, it demanded some understanding. It demands some knowledge, it demands some understanding about situation, other things. Some, let's say, situations can be complex or may demand knowledge, but some situation you can easily judge yourself why it is. Still, let's say, when he say deontology, teleology, so you need to have understanding of this. How teleology, right? In fact, teleology can tell that it is good. Right? Similarly, let's say there can be other situations. So when we say human conduct, character as ethical, unethical, this is how we say and judge on this basis. Therefore, there can be different definitions. Means ethics can be defined in different manners. Let's write some more things on that. On the basis of established standards, on the basis of established standards and moral philosophy, the term ethics can be defined. The term ethics can be defined as first, it is a field of moral science. It is a field of moral science or moral philosophy. It is a field of moral science or moral philosophy, which deals with human character and conduct, Second, ethics deals with standards of human character and conduct. Next, it is a field of normative science. Which deals with rightness or wrongness of human conduct. On the basis of established standards to achieve the chief good. So these are, let's say, different definitions. Now we have added in the last one, normative science also. This you should know that. So you can define ethics in different way. But you should not define, generally we find some people are those who do not know, generally they say ethics is what society imposes on us. This is also a definition, but you should not write this, because it has a negative connotation. Society can impose negative thing also, isn't it? In society, Hitler's society, so there was, let's say, support by society. That's why it happened. So society can, majoritarian society. This, or you should know that Socrates, he was against democracy. That does not mean he was against democracy per se. This you should know. Since his death was given by a group of people on the basis of majority decision, and that is the characteristics of democracy. That's why he criticized democracy. This. So, what we are saying to society, ethics is what society imposes. Its positive aspect is that whatever common things we have in society, they can become social norms, social standards. And those social standards can be considered as ethical standard. Like say peace and harmony, tolerance in our society. Our societal standards are peace, harmony and tolerance. We say it as Indian values. And they are also, let's say, principles of ethics that way. But at times society can impose negative things. You should not write this definition when we talk about ethics. Right. Then the other aspect is the call, let's say that significance of ethics. Yes. Yes.
But sir, charity, let's say we are 100% as per ethical standard. Charity is very easy. It's about, let's say, helping the person who is not working himself or doing something which the state should do. So, charity, whether it is right or wrong, differs from society to society. Then, what will ethics say on this?
As far as practice is concerned, the two different places can have different practices. But the charity term has a positive connotation. That is called helping people in need. Yes. Which Germany will also believe, I guess, isn't it? So, a particular practice in a country, let's say begging is allowed even if it is illegal in our country, and we help people. Yes, but begging, let's say that may not be considered as a good practice. So in Germany, there can be, let's say they may not allow, but as far as charity connotation is concerned, that we have to see. Not a practice this country or that country. The connotation of charity is to help people.
Ethics is always positive.
Yes, ethics is always positive.
Also, sir, if that Mr. A didn't know there was a medical condition for Mr. C and he died because of that, and he didn't get any supplements for his medical condition, and he made a short refusal, then will he be liable for murder?
Still he'll be liable. Charges can be less. Charger can be very light, but he will be responsible for that. Right. Simply because when you hold a position, so then it gives you fiduciary responsibility. Because of that position, an obligation comes. Let's say anything happens in the district. The first thing is that district magistrate is transferred. Why is transferred? He cannot control everything. Now in a hospital, something has happened. He cannot control everything. But anything happens in the district. The first thing is that he is transferred. Although it can be politically motivated, that's different thing. But he is at the helm in the district. So he is supposed to be responsible for that. He should have resigned. Sorry to say. Right. Taking high moral ground is to take responsibility. Yes. Whether government accepts it or not, it's government decision. Resignation is not going to solve the problem. But at least it gives a message.
Then what about people becoming IAS officers with fake NCSC certificates?
क्या बात है. Right. Government should deal against them. Isn't it? What we can say. So, what we are saying is, gradually, see, that is not a big problem. People, those who have fake certificates. So, government should ensure that we do not make fake certificates. Yes. As far as anyone who is at the higher position in family, in society, even if they are not directly responsible for that. देखो होता क्या है? Suppose railway minister is not responsible. See, finding exact cause of the accident, although conspiracy theory is going on, this for some time it will go by 2024 elections. So the question is that if there is a conspiracy, उसके लिए chest thumping की जरूरत नहीं है. You should know that. That you need to carry investigation and punish. Even if there is conspiracy, still responsibility goes towards you. Why you did not know it? This. So by conspiracy also you cannot ignore or overshadow your responsibility factor. Second factor is that it's the discipline. Railway does have, if CAG gives the reports, so railway does have lots of problems. If they have shortage of staff, proper tracks are not, let's say that, frequently visited, let's say that. So punishing that person does not make sense. It is a scapegoat. And that person go and ask. He will see who is exactly responsible. So basically we end up punishing a weak person. Right, not strong. So still we'll try to learn those things. Anyhow, why ethics is important. By the way, why ethics is important? Why humans should have ethical conduct? For the good of the whole society. How ethics promotes good of the whole society? Mhm. Mhm. Yes, it gives sense of hope, sense of justice, satisfaction, and it brings, let's say that respect, dignity to everyone. Yes. A society which has high incidence of ethical conduct will have high level of satisfaction, contentment, satisfaction. And then people will have feeling of worthfulness of life. Life is worth living. This, which is what the human feels. But a society which has less incidence of ethics, so that society will have high level of dissatisfaction, discontentment. And those discontentment, dissatisfaction can often be seen in terms of chaos, conflicts, tension. This, and that is how, let's say that we may not feel satisfied at the end of the day. Hence, at the end of the day, we may not feel, let's say that, worthy of being human. Rather, we may curse also being human and living a life. This, which, let's say, people often think, people often feel this. So, this way, let's say that ethics is important. Ethics is important to know the truth in society. Truth is the biggest casualty when ethics is lost, or a society which has less ethical aspects. Like, it becomes very difficult to know the truth of any incidents. You can see that most of the incidents, at the end of the day, you do not know what is the truth, because it is distorted in such a fashion that being means knowing truth becomes difficult, and then it enhances, or let's say it results into high level of dissatisfaction, even if the case or the matter is not related to you. This, it is not related to you, but by seeing that also you feel highly dissatisfied, discontent. This, that's why it is important. And society, let's say that human life, at the end of the day, human life is not for all these worldly things. Right? At the end of the day, human life is whether you have lived your life, right, as per, let's say that right means, as per what your conscience is, or as per what it is intended as a human that human should live. This, and this you can know better by those people who are aged. Aged people, they can tell you better. Right? Because they have all experienced their life, now they are towards end of life. So they can have, if satisfaction कि I have lived my life in better way, right, इससे बेहतर नहीं हो सकता था, they will be satisfied. Is it like that? And if they have not lived their life, second life is not they can get, unless they believe in reincarnation. So they will have regrets. Right? And those regrets we try to offset by being religious. But towards end of the life, people become more religious कि जो थोड़ा मोड़ा लाइफ बचा है उसमें कुछ अच्छा काम कर लो. Isn't it? This. So ethics is all about this. This is how the significance, this is how the benefit. Simple, I will tell. If you are ethical, you will be a happy person. This, no matter whether you have wealth, etc., it does not matter. And if you have all those means but not ethical, today, tomorrow, there will be a guilt feeling. Right? Why Kant is very, let's say, popular and most popular thinker. He gave this logic. Utilitarian says outcome of the action is right, so action is right. Right? End result is good result. This. He says that yes, outcome is right, good. What if towards end of life you feel moral guilt? So the tension of moral guilt will be much more than the benefits of the outcome. This. Hence, we should not judge human behavior on the basis of consequence of human action. This. Rather, the action itself should have good quality. That's why Mahatma Gandhi told, whether we agree or do not agree, he did not have problem with Britishers, but people with Britishers mindset, and which can be Indians also. So, real freedom people will not get if we have people with Britishers mindset, and we do have such people. Divide and rule तो अभी भी चल रहा है. Anyhow, so that is how, let's say that how you see the things. Hence, let's say he will believe in right means. Once he told that freedom can wait, but not causes of origins. Can you imagine such a big statement? Freedom can wait. Matlab independence of the country can wait, but not causes of origin. Why? Injustice. Freedom has no meaning if there is injustice. Or freedom has no meaning if we are not able to eradicate injustice. That is what he wanted. Whether you agree, that's different thing. That is how the, let's say that ethics gives you better understanding about self, about society. And it helps in making a better society in which people can live their life with greater contentment and satisfaction. Yes, that is how in brief we can tell. So let's write on this. Ethics helps in establishing a better society by making each and every human better. By making each and every human better. Each and every human better. Ethics improves human character and conduct. And hence, there can be a society. And hence, there can be a society with better quality of humans. Better quality of humans. It is character and conduct. It is character and conduct which distinguishes one society from another. One society from another. Society from another. A society is strong. Not because it has atomic weapon. Rather, it has people with good character. As remarked by Vivekananda. So basically then you will say कि उस समय atomic weapon तो था नहीं. Knowledge तो हो सकता है. Generally people ask in class, but before asking I told it. Anyhow, let's start further. Yes, if a society has if a society has high incidence of ethical conduct, it experiences first peace and harmony, next stability and order, next contentment and satisfaction, people feel life is worth living, but if a society lacks ethical standards, it may experience chaos and conflicts. Tension, instability, and even it can drift towards disintegration. Like Roman Empire, and in present context, failed states, including Afghanistan, failed states. Is it like that? So Afghanistan, what do you think? It could not survive even for a week once US left. Why? Moral corruption. They are highly corrupt, sorry to say that. कोई भी सोसाइटी करप्ट है, इसीलिए वहां पर बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. No, you can corrupt, bribe people. It took lots of time to win independence. Why? Corruption. Britishers knew how to bribe Indians, didn't it? अभी भी bribe दिया जाता है, either to speak or not to speak, isn't it? Corruption, moral corruption, and moral corruption is manifestation of less ethical standards in society. Yes. So Afghanistan, since it is recent example we are giving, when there was US force, when it left, they could not even survive for a week. Talibanis were waiting. They were in, let's say that, backyard waiting for US withdrawal for 10 years. Anyhow, but it is moral standard. They were bribed like anything, and they are so divided that they can be bribed like anything. Old example is Roman Empire. It is said it declined because of moral corruption. Yes. There are many states which have disintegration. Kosovo, Yugoslavia, disintegrated. Why? Because you cannot think about others. Tribes, sects are so divided that they can fight against each other and they are ready to take life even to divide the country. Yes. Because ethical, so you have to go beyond caste, religion and community if you want to be ethical. Yes. So that way we can consider. So a society, let's say that if it is, let's say, so many things we have in our society. Sorry to say, insurgency, terrorism, this and that, Naxalism, ये सारे क्यों सर्वाइव कर रहे हैं? और भी बहुत सारे वजह है जो आप पेपर सेकंड थर्ड में पढ़ते होंगे, बट ये भी है कि करप्शन भी है उसमें. Corruption, it becomes, let's say, easy to bribe people, bribe officers, bribe this and that. This, and then what you can tackle today, you have to tackle after 5 years. It takes time in tackling the things. This, so chaos, conflict, this is how we find. You know also what happened. COVID, second wave, April time, you know what happened. Lots of life, people lost. At the same time, you know the rate of oxygen cylinder, oximeter, isn't it? And you can say that others, Joes can consider. Yes, doctors know more technicalities. Although I still do not know whether you are a doctor. So the question is that, you know that ambulance charge also? Wherever people got opportunity, so it is an opportunity to earn. This, how your moral conscience can allow. In such time, someone is taking body of a person, you are demanding money. ठीक, इतना पैसा दो तो ले जाएंगे, नहीं तो this. So it is test of moral standards. This, and certainly it was not a good show of moral standard. This. So, and that creates problem. It creates lots of problem, you know that. Moral standard, I will tell that people, those who are rich people, they had oxygen cylinder in their houses. They had bought in advance. If someone will have COVID, so we will support that person. I know those such rich people, sorry to say that. This, even they had reserved their beds in hospitals. They paid that bed, it was vacant. They paid it so that if their family members become, let's say, have COVID, let's say, infection, they will be admitted, bed is vacant. This is moral standard. It creates problem rather than solve problems. That is how it is significant, let's say. Even society, let's say, may not survive. It is very challenging, you know that, nowadays. And because of such moral standards, lots of challenges we face. Moral problems we have, lots of challenges we face, which first day, although we should not talk on this, but this is how the significance we can say. Then we'll have to take next slide. Right, morality. So let's take about morality start. Tomorrow we'll deal in morality. So let's write. It also deals with standards of human conduct. It also deals with standards of human conduct. But on the basis of individual standards, moral belief, and values. Individual. That what individuals think as right. That what individuals think as right or wrong. Since it depends on since it depends on individual standards, it depends on individual standards, individual standards. It lacks universal standards. It lacks universal standards. Universal standards. Individual standards would be influenced by, individual standards will be influenced by societal norms, religion, family values, and other aspects of tradition, custom, etc. Hence, moral standards may differ. Moral standards may differ person to person. Moral standards may differ person to person, society to society, society to society. Right. So far we were dealing with ethical standards, and we have given some of the ethical standards, we can say, which we say as peace, harmony, truthfulness, honesty, integrity, you can consider. Or let's say whatever the logic we were given. When we had a logic in case of the person who was in confinement or the person who was selling one child, we did not see that person caste, religion, community, society, which society he lives. We have followed somehow universal standard, general aspect. But our moral belief and standards are largely influenced by our society, religion, community, and let's say region also you can consider. And on that basis, we have developed our understanding related to right and wrong. This right and wrong you can consider. So, if you find, let's say that, although again, these are, let's say, we have to tell all these things and don't take other way, otherwise we cannot teach ethics. We take all those sensitive examples, etc., so that we can clear your thinking. So there can be, let's say, the moral aspect. So moral aspect in our country is that we do not show, let's say that, love publicly, isn't it? In our society, act of kissing can invite punishment also. At public place, no. On roadside, but in Western society, it is part and parcel of life. No. And people, those who are passing by, they also appreciate this. It is their culture. But in our culture, people who are passing by, no, already UP police moral policy, no, anti-Romeo squad. नाम ही है उसका anti-Romeo squad. Which I say generally that chief minister is bachelor, he does not understand. Right. Anyhow, so the question is this. So anti-Romeo, the name you will find it, is this, which is being executed by police. But Romeo is a person who is revered in their society, Western society. This. So that is how, let's say, we can have different moral standards. और इसी पे तो फाइट चल रहा है. That is how I told you. Next class we'll try more openly. Right? हमारे सोसाइटी में इसी moral standards पे फाइट है. Right? Because one community moral standard is different, another community moral standard is different, and they think that it is right. One is conflicting with another. That conflict results into tension and fight. isn't it? जो आजकल इशू चल रहा है, अब किसी टेम्पल में कोई जाके नमाज पढ़ लेने तो क्या फर्क प्रॉब्लम है, भगवान ही तो है, isn't it? तो फिर कुछ लोग जल छिड़क रहे हैं पवित्र करने के लिए, अभी का कुछ इशू है, टीवी वाला ऐसे ही शो करते हैं, isn't it? But let's say that what is your problem? But it is shown that it is a wrong way. It results into conflict. If you apply your broader mind, let God को God से समझने दो आपस में, isn't it? अगर दोनों के बीच में conflict है तो let them understand. But one is saying कि no, हम टेम्पल में उसको नहीं आने देंगे, वो बोलता है मस्जिद में हम उसको नहीं आने देंगे. This is the fight, moral standard. Same thing with hijab ban, isn't it? This moral standard. So society is having conflicts, lots of conflicts. Moral standard. Same thing, moral standard. Let's see, as I told you, intercaste marriage. Intercaste marriage, interreligious तो बात ही मत करो, isn't it? So moral standard it is. Even north and south also. That kind of moral standard will find. So these things, let's say, considered. Similarly, let's say the issue which is going on, let's say LGBT rights, live-in relationship, marriage, let's say that, the transgender and third gender. The government has replied to court that it does not, our society is not yet prepared for transgender as third gender. Right. Similarly, LGBT rights, it has given a negative stand. This. And then court is dealing with this matter. These are all based on your moral aspect. Right. And then moral aspects have conflicts with ethical aspects. This, that when there is a conflict, what should happen? Isn't it? That will take tomorrow, so let's take tomorrow. Right?